Hello everyone. Today I want to talk about who you are and who I am. Who are we really? There are several ways to answer this question, and in exploring this topic, I want to get you to think about what is your conception of yourself. Are you this body going through your day, and when you stump your toe you're getting hurt, and when you get a promotion you're exhilarated? Um, I use something else beyond the body, but while having a human experience, using the body for whatever activity you're doing during your day. What are you really? We can look at it through the material view that you are this body, and then through the cultural perspective as well, and you are the identity that is being given to this body. This body here is called Filipe, and it likes um, chocolate and it doesn't like watermelons. And that's one thing I've decided about this identity, and it's almost stuck in stone and it doesn't really change in life because of it. Or are you an ever changing mesh of events, occurrences, experiences in life? Um, One thing that got me thinking was that the molecules in our body and the molecules in the air, in the ground, in all the objects in the world, they essentially are made from the same thing. And thinking about the dynamic of a plant in its environment, in a natural environment, a plant needs its natural environment to live, and it's dependent to the point where some a small change that can happen in the environment can mean the death of a plant. We are very comparable. It's just that because we are not rooted to the same physical spot, we seem very detached from our environment. But I think the distinction between organism and environment is very prominent and very important. We wouldn't be who we are if it wasn't for the environment we are in right now. Um, and I remember thinking about or listening to Alan Watts discuss finding out who you are. And he talks about, he gives a few examples, and he says, a knife isn't able to cut itself, a flame isn't able to burn itself, and teeth aren't able to bite into itself. There's something about the nature of the self that cannot grasp what the self is. It's like, it's always, at least in the physical world, there's a dualistic sense of relationship which determines um, and actually creates the other. Without an object within an environment, you cannot really define that environment because it's just all there is. But the moment you put an object and an environment together, you're able to compare one to the other and actually distinguish each and define each in that sense. And I think we are kind of like that in life as well. Um, our environment defines us and we define our environment. It goes both ways. Neither is more important. And we are interdependent. An environment cannot exist without things in it, and things cannot exist without an environment to be in. Um, so thinking about this, I also kind of wanted to explore a little bit of the spiritual side of the question of self, which is the one I resonate mostly with, and it's the idea, uh, incredibly difficult to discuss and to contemplate because we don't really know, but the idea that within this being there are different aspects of it: the physical body, the mental body, and then perhaps the spirit, all which play an important part of who you are and what this experience of life is, but none of them are, is you, is who you are. Um, and I think, thinking about that, I think it's very easy to go into the path of we are our bodies, because it's the most tactile and most sensory dense part of the experience of being alive. But I think that would be a mistake. Um, our body needs food, our body craves connection between human beings, and it wants to reproduce and propagate the species. But these things are not who you are, even though they might drive how the experience of being an individual human being goes. Um, the same way, the mental aspect of that balance, the identity that's given to you is not you. A name is given to you, but you would exist just the same without the concept of a name. Um, how I like to think about this is that we are the experiences, and we extend ourselves from time to time depending on what we are experiencing. For example, if you're playing a game of tennis, the racket in your hand is an extension of your body, and if you're a very skilled tennis player, if you're skilled in any practice that involves a tool or an instrument of some sort, that becomes an extension of you, to the point where you can actually, in the same way where you don't have to think about where your feet is going to step for the next step because you've done it so many times, in the same way you can almost see where the ball is coming in the tennis game, and before you even see where it's actually going to land, you can already start the swing for the next hit, because you've already experienced this so many times that you've already know the distance, in the same way that you know the distance of your leg to make the proper following step when you're walking. So I think the experience of playing an instrument or playing a sport with a tool extends who you are, at least in that moment, in that part of the experience of life, to stretch your perception. Like, for example, a blind person actually using a cane to discern the surface of the ground, so it becomes a lengthening and a stretch of their hands in order for them to feel the floor in a tactile way. So the vibrations pass through the cane into their arm, and they are able to actually paint a mapping, create a mapping of the ground, and actually know where to step, or know where not to go, where not to step. So it's really interesting to think about that, and it really blurs the line in a way that's very hard to say in the Western world of who we are, because we say we are the body. I'm not even these clothes, but at this moment these clothes are being part of the experience of this body. Um, and playing an instrument, you're extending yourself and you're expressing yourself through the instrument. I would really like to think in that way, even though I don't know if I truly believe it. I vacillate between where I find myself in this question, but I like to think of the experience as who I am, as the expression that I'm putting out being who I am. The body, the mind, and maybe even the spirit are not who I am, but I'm the witnesser of everything. I'm the one experiencing everything. And to the extent to which my attention is in a particular place, and it could be the strings of the guitar as I strum, or the tennis racket as I swing, that's who I am in that sense. And to the extent of which my attention is not in a part of me, like for example my ankles right now, until I mentioned it I wasn't aware of them. Was that who I was at that point? Or was that just part of a tool that helped me be standing up? So yeah, really interesting question. Just wanted to make a video to explore the topic and give you guys something to think about. If you have any ideas, any thoughts on the topic, share them with me. I'm all ears. I always love to hear. Alright, thank you guys. Have a lovely day, and goodbye.